Hello to the internet and welcome back to more Phoenix Wright. We just saw Maya's name written in blood, and now we're... Hey, where's that other place we can move to? Well, there was 2 places we can move, wasn't there?
So the 2 biggest mysteries we really have right now... Well, 3. 1, is Maya okay?
Yeah.
2, what was the deal with the flying girl? The thing that we have in the artist's rendition.
Yeah?
Of the situation.
Whoops. Wait, dang it. Sorry, continue.
3, God damn it, is Godot dead or not?
Yeah.
What do you...
I'm trying to figure out where I'm supposed to go. Or do...
Garden? Talk to Gumshoe? Investigate more stuff? Like examine?
I kind of feel like we did, unless I need to present something.
Yeah.
Boom.
Because did you also examine everything in here?
I already examined everything, yeah.
Okay.
Like, I can... check marks.
Okay, for some reason I thought you might have missed something.
So maybe we're supposed to present something, but what exactly? The sphere? You're supposed to find close to Dusky Bridge.
Why not just go through it all? You know, just start the old and work our way back.
Yeah, fair enough. You just found it close to Dusky Bridge, wasn't it?
That's what the artist guy said, yeah. Right after the defendant flew over the burning bridge. According to his testimony, she dropped it when she landed on the other side. But
this crystal didn't belong to Iris.
The crystal had dropped out of Miss Elise Dono's staff. And there are traces of blood on it, too.
The real question is, what's doing near the foot of Dusky Bridge? Well, here's my theory on that.
Yeah, say pal, what's up?
Obviously she was killed here in the garden.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty safe assumption to make.
Yeah. So she had to be carried to the courtyard. They carried her across the bridge, and then had to put her onto the snowmobile. But when they flopped the body on the snowmobile, then the staff must have hit the ground and popped the jewel off.
That would make sense, except you have to think about the amount of time it would take to do this.
I mean, they can't use the snowmobile across the bridge though. And they stated that the snowmobile won't fit on the bridge.
Right, but that means that she would have to start all the way to Hazakura Temple, drive the snowmobile down to the bridge, which would take less than a minute, I suppose, right?
5 minutes.
Well, Sister Bikini specifically said it took less than 5 minutes on the snowmobile to make it from Hazakura Temple to the Dusky Bridge.
Yeah.
So, a couple minutes travel time for that, a couple extra minutes walking across, and then it's, what did they say, was it a 5 or a 10 minute walk actually to Inner Temple itself?
I don't remember them saying the time it takes to get to the temple.
Anyway, so by now, we'll call it about 10 minutes have passed.
Okay.
Supposedly for the time frame window that Bikini's passed out, right?
No, but this would have happened before any of that, because this is while Miss Lise would still be alive because she was killed in the garden. So this would be the murderer going to the garden to commit the murder.
Okay. Well, regardless, then that would mean that for these 10 minutes, that at some point during the day...
Mm-hmm. It would have had to be during the day, because of the weather report and all that shit. You know?
Right, there's no way.
Mm-hmm.
There's absolutely no way, timing-wise, that they'd be able to, take the snowmobile to Dusky Bridge, get across, commit the murder, then drag the body back across the bridge without leaving a blood trail, and also possibly at some point with this giant sword sticking out of her. Assuming that is the murder weapon, but I...
The Sushihito is not the murder weapon. They probably already disposed of the murder weapon into the river, honestly.
Probably. Anyway, or lightning rod theory, it burned down the bridge and then fell with it. Anyway, regardless. So the current working situation says that because of just all of that, there's simply not enough time for her to have committed it at night, at the point at which Sister Bikini would have seen it, and that would have been
But that's already been disproved anyway.
Right. So, at this point, do we still even really need to question Miss Bikini?
I mean, probably not.
Because it doesn't seem like, at this point, she holds any relevance to this case anymore whatsoever. She saw the setup.
Yeah.
And Iris...
I mean, unless we go and question them about events that happened earlier in the day. Maybe like, hey, did you notice anything odd that happened, like, during the day at all? And maybe she'd be like, well, there was this one thing that I didn't really think much about, but now that you mention it, you know.
I guess, but wouldn't we have already, like... I assume they would have already, like, said something about it if something weird happened during the day.
Maybe not, though, because at the time, everyone was thinking that the crime was committed at night.
Well, also,
so everyone was focusing on that.
Bikini heard that thump of her falling.
Well, I'm assuming that she did get pushed out the window, probably. Or maybe tossed over that stone wall.
Well,
because the autopsy report does say that she fell about 10 feet after she was killed.
Right.
So they dragged her dead body across the bridge, you know, to get back to Hazakura Temple. Then either dragged it through the temple, which would have been extremely risky because you risk getting caught, or they went to the other side and there's that stone wall, right?
Uh-huh.
But that wall, it's not like a wall where there's like, you know, it's not like a fence where, you know, you climb it and then you hop down. Rather, that above that stone wall is flat ground because of the way the mountain is.
Right.
So they could have just.
How would they have gotten up there with the amount of snow and everything going on?
Well,
that's 10 feet up on a small cliffside.
No, the courtyard is 10 feet down. The stone wall isn't 10 feet up, the courtyard is 10 feet down. They would have been on flat ground up until they reached the stone wall, which then would have been a dip.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that the temple was on the flat ground and that this stone wall was a weird part of the mountain that was...
Do we have the picture? We don't have the picture of the courtyard, but I can go to the courtyard. But like they said, because of the way it's built, it's one floor, but you know there's like a dip or whatever because of how the mountain is. So it's not a two-story building, but they kind of built like
right. I keep forgetting that it's built on like a framework on only under a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So that stone wall, they could have just dragged the body there and like flopped it down because that way they wouldn't even have to enter the temple.
Yeah, for some reason I was thinking it was actually like a legitimate stone wall.
Yeah, that's why I was saying it's not like a fence or anything. It's
okay.
Yeah.
I must have missed that at some point. I don't know.
It's all right.
Huh. Okay, so then they're dragging the body back. They drag it up, and then do you think it's from there that they just flop it over?
I mean, why not?
But what's the point of going through all this elaborate setup?
I don't know.
Genuinely,
I don't know.
You've already killed her. She's out in the garden on the other side of her near Dusky Bridge. Clearly, nobody knows that she's there.
Mm-hmm.
Why go through all the setup? Why not just let her be found there? Honestly, if she ever even actually is.
That's a very good question. One that we do not have the answer to yet.
I mean, they say it's been disused except for the night of the murder.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I feel like the idea of it being used again recently is a very slim chance. I don't know. I feel like the whole setup and everything is a bit much because I think they probably honestly would have had a better chance getting away with it if they did it in the first place.
Maybe. We don't know the killer's motive.
That's also true. We don't even technically know the true killer right now.
Mm-hmm. Also true.
Honestly, it could be a number of people. It could be Bikini for some reason. It could be Iris for whatever reason. It could be Larry. Honestly, I'm not going to discount Larry.
Okay.
Genuinely, as much as I would hate for it to be so,
and you know
there
what?
are some signs that point to Larry possibly having more of a stake in this than we thought.
And you know what? It could be someone we haven't even met yet. If you remember the circus chapter, we didn't even meet the wheelchair guy until like halfway through.
Like almost at the end, like literally when we had no other things to investigate.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, have you talked to Acrobat yet?
Yeah, exactly. And then
Acro the Acrobat.
Acro, yeah. And then they're like, and we were like, oh, okay, so
Because fucking Mo was like, yeah, his brother died like a year ago or whatever.
Right. So like the first whole trial day, we hadn't even met the killer yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it could be a similar case where we just haven't met the killer yet.
Maybe. It's kind of weird to think about.
But I don't know who else would be here. This is like a secluded mountain, you know? Like, it seems like the only people... Matter of fact, they even said that the only two people that work here are Bikini and Iris.
Yeah.
It just so happened that Dunham and Larry were here that night as well. Like, coincidental.
Mm-hmm.
So... I don't know.
Ooh.
The real question is, what's it doing near the foot of Dusky Bridge? Okay. Nope. Alright, I'll just do everything.
Everything?
Yeah.
Alright.
Hey look, it's my attorney's badge.
Yeah, good one, pal. You're always good for a laugh. You're always good for a laugh with your little badge. But a real man has a police badge.
Okay.
This climate.
Right. Ugh.
Hey, it looks good. Is it a cough drop? I tell you, pal, I've had a sore throat all day.
No, it's my Makatama. You can't eat it.
Oh.
At least it doesn't just put stuff in his mouth first and ask questions later anymore.
Any more?
What about this, Detective Gumshoe? Any thoughts?
Yeah, well, it's pretty chilly today, huh? My brain doesn't work properly in the cold. Perhaps we'll just have to wait until summer when it's warmer. Oh no, my brain doesn't work properly in the heat. I'm kind of weak in the head.
There are some things you shouldn't advertise, Gumshoe, especially in front of her.
Alternatively, I think your brain just doesn't work.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we said that at the same time.
Yeah. Okay, same thing. Do you know anything about the Scroll Detective?
Well, I know it smells great. Yeah, this is just the kind of weather for steaming mashed potatoes and gravy. Really love that stuff. I ate so much in my coat and even smell. Ah! Have you nothing else to say about this than your inane ramblings about gravy? Not really.
Well, let's just leave it at that, okay?
Wow, wow.
Yeah, jeez.
She certainly was a mysterious person. Her real name, her past, it's all a complete mystery. Still, it strikes me as odd. Why would someone who wishes to remain anonymous become an author? You know what probably happened? I bet she didn't know her books were going to be such a success. That's what I think.
I think it really is just leading us to the whole Misty thing. Like, why would someone want to be someone who wants to be remain anonymous become an author? I mean, if it was Misty, she would want to be anonymous. I don't know why would she become an author though.
Yeah, now that she points it out, that's actually a valid thing. Like, why would she become an author? Then again, writing under a pen name, and maybe even taking that pen name to, be her actual, like J.K. Rowling.
Yeah. And if we're going with the theory that she is Misty, it would also make sense why she had such an affinity for Pearl. And it might actually be kind of sad, because she might not realize how much time has passed since she went to the mountain. Because when she left, Maya was like, what, 5 or 2, or really young, right? Mm-hmm. She might have mistaken Pearl as her daughter, not realizing that more time had passed than she thought, Maybe, or maybe she reminded her of her daughter,
That's probably closer.
Yeah.
Because she has to know that she's been away for a significant amount of time.
Yeah, but she hasn't seen her daughter in however long. The last thing that she remembers of her daughter is how she looked when she was that young,
Yeah.
So she wouldn't recognize Maya. She didn't recognize Maya,
Yeah? But also, logically speaking, she has to have some idea that Pearl is not her daughter.
Probably, but Pearl probably looked like what Maya looked like when she left.
And that, running with the theory that it reminds her of Maya when she was that young, yes, I can definitely see that. I thought you were trying to make some sort of weird argument that she mistook Pearl for Maya.
No,
I don't think it's quite that far.
That's not what I meant, but you got the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
But still, I don't know. I do agree that it's a little bit of a strange choice that if you want to remain a secret, you don't exactly go around writing a bunch of stuff and spreading it under a name, false or not, because that false name could still be tied back to you, publishing rights and blah blah blah.
Maybe. Okay, same blah blah blah. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, shit. Hold on, let me go back. Yeah. I got it.
I didn't follow the ins and outs of it, but it turned out that this wasn't the murder weapon, right?
If what Tsubikini saw is right, then no, it's not. She said the murder weapon was thrust into the victim up to the hilt. But the bloodstains on this aren't consistent with her story.
Don't worry, pal. I'll uncover the real murder weapon. If I haven't turned it up by spring, you can take my badge.
This case will be long over by then, Gumshoe. Actually, that is a good point. The real murder weapon was apparently buried up to the hilt, while the Shishijo was not, which means that they must have not have disposed of the murder weapon at the time that Bikini saw the incident.
Yeah. But that would also mean that it has a similar design to Shichishito, whatever it actually is, because she mistook it for the sword from the statue.
Yeah. Weird. Things are not lining up very well. Mysteries upon mysteries.
Well, but then again, also, the Shichishito from the statue was not in the hand of the statue because she was pulling it out or putting it in of the body, right? Because then it's after at some point doing that that it is discovered in the hand of the statue upside down.
Correct. Do you think maybe Iris, not the killer, but do you think maybe she was an accomplice or something? Where, like, she set up the murder, to set up the courtyard to look like where the murder took place?
Alternatively, part of me wonders if there actually is, like, a third sister or cousin relating. So, assuming that Iris and Dahlia are two
separate beings. So you think maybe Dahlia, like, maybe Bikini looked out the window and saw Dahlia and thought it was Iris.
Exactly, because it looks so similar.
Yeah.
Alternatively, somebody posing as Iris, which, for me, the closest to assume would be Dahlia or another sister / cousin that looks similar.
Yeah.
Assuming they even have one.
Right.
And it's not actually just Dahlia herself. Which, again, well, she's supposed to be in jail and shit, you know?
Yeah.
Possibly even, like, something harsher.
How long would have she gone to jail for? Because...
About a year.
Well, wait, about a year?
Right?
Well, if that's the case, then she would have been out by now. Because that happened when Mia was still alive.
Well, no, I mean, she would have been in jail for about a year by the time this case happened.
Oh, for about a year. I thought you were saying she was only good.
No, she would definitely have been in jail for many years.
How long do you think her sentence would be?
Well, she committed, 2 murders?
3. 4 if you want to count Armando. But if he's still alive, or if he's a spirit, I don't know.
Well, can we technically say that Terry being dead is on Dahlia's hands? Because he did drink it himself.
That's true.
That is a decision he made. Granted, it was...
However, it can't be...
Based upon him saying that it was because Dahlia said he needed to if he ever didn't trust her. So, I'll include Terry with this. So,
and haven't there also been, like, court cases or whatever where, like, someone is so abusive that they drive someone to suicide and then they get tried with murder even though they aren't the ones who actually killed them or whatever?
I don't know if they're tried with murder. I think they might actually be tried with manslaughter.
Same
Which
difference.
is, like, you weren't necessarily the perpetrator, but you were behind the circumstances of the death.
Yeah.
Like when somebody,
But the death is still on your head, right? Or on your hands, technically. Or
in a sense.
You are faulted for the death.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are faulted. It may not necessarily be entirely your fault, but you have a significant portion of the blame.
So Dahlia would be faulted for the death of Terry.
Right. That's why I think, actually, the difference is that, like, if you accidentally run somebody over, as opposed to being drunk and accidentally running somebody over, that's what gives you manslaughter versus murder, if I understand that correctly. That being said, Dahlia, let's say it's manslaughter 1 for Terry.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have
we have her sister.
Her sister, yeah.
We have
who she
killed.
Shot, right?
No, stabbed in the back.
Stabbed. Thank you.
Okay. We have.
So that would be, and that was premeditated because it was part of the same case, and that would be first degree murder.
Then we also have Doug Swallow, which she electrocuted. She pushed him into that electric thing or whatever.
Right, and then was that what killed him, or was it something else? Because I thought we determined that actually him being electrocuted, he would have survived, right? No.
No, he was killed by electrocution.
Him pushing him into that power box thing or whatever. That was what killed him.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, and then she had another poisoning victim, right?
Which was Diego Armando.
But he survived. They could get her because he survived. They couldn't get her with murder, but they could definitely get her with attempted murder.
Unless he didn't survive and he's a spirit, like my theory goes. But
in which case, that would also be murder 1. But we would know about that because of the fact that she would have been tried for murder for Godot as well. They would have brought that up in the court case if that was so.
I mean, they did in Mia's court case.
But why didn't they bring it up in ours when we were trying her?
Well, we haven't tried her.
We haven't?
No. Both times that Dahlia was on stand, it was Mia.
I thought that she was.
Because the first case of this game, it was before Phoenix was even an attorney. At the time, he and Dahlia were dating.
Right, and he was majorly simping for her and trying to protect her.
Yeah, exactly. Right. The second time Dahlia came back was also a Mia case because it was a case with Terry.
I thought there was a case where we were playing as Phoenix and we met her.
No. Unless you want to count this case, if we're considering Iris as Dahlia.
Which I'm still not 100% sold on. Like, again, because she should have well over 40 years in jail. Well over, I mean, possibly even multiple life sentences, if not outright just being executed, depending upon how things are looking. Like, she has 4 counts of dead people. Each by itself having a significant amount of time. I think first degree murder on average lends you about 30 years in jail. I mean, I could be wrong, and that could actually be on the higher end or sort of things. But I'm of the significant belief that murder gets you a decent amount of time in the penitentiary.
Yeah, I mean it should.
Definitely, especially if it was premeditated and there's no real justification for it.
Yeah,
is my.
So basically,
that's how I look at it.
All this leads up to being that she should not have been released yet. Basically,
yeah. Not only should she not have been released, she should definitely still be in prison because I don't see her having the skills by herself to be able to break out.
Yeah, unless she fucking simps one of the guards, or not simps the guard, but does the whole cutesy act and gets the guards to oogle her or whatever. I don't know.
That's still really jumping it.
Yeah.
My theory, the only way that she could possibly be released at this point is if maybe she was on parole.
Or maybe got her time limited, time reduced for
maybe
good behavior or whatever.
Maybe, no, they wouldn't be reduced that much. Okay. The only chance I can see of her being Iris is if she was trying to hide her identity because she was doing I guess they could consider this community service, considering she doesn't have any connection to the Karain channeling technique. Yeah. So if they have her out here doing community service, and that's why she's cut up on all this.
But wouldn't they have said that by now?
I like to think that Phoenix would have read about that when he was doing all the research on the Mia case. Yeah. The updated situation regarding what's going on with her.
I don't know. I just don't report that.
Well, it would be on public file of where she's at.
Maybe when Edward said he was going to do some research, so maybe when he comes back, he'll have information for us.
Probably. Honestly, what Edgeworth has to say when he brings Dahlia back in with the lock thing, that's going to say one way or the other on a lot of this.
Yeah. Well, we should probably continue with the
actual game now.
Yeah. Well, that's you.
Ah, that staff belonged to the victim.
Yeah, and apart from the crystal missing from the top, there's nothing wrong with it.
Oh, I just remembered something really important. This is just between us, okay, pal? Is this going to have anything to do with the case, Detective? Well, no, but it's really... Then I'm not interested. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm with Von Karma on this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Nope. Nope. Okay, what do you make of this photo of the crime scene?
It's really gruesome. All I gotta say is that the killer is messed up in the head. But it turns out that Shiki thing wasn't even the murder weapon. So then, why would someone stab the victim like that?
That's a mystery we're here to solve.
Also, I want to point out, it's kind of weird, the fact that the statue, like, presumably the sword is meant to, you know, come out of it by being lifted up and over the hand, right? Because it's a stone hand, it doesn't move.
Yeah.
So, for it to be there holding the Shiki, I assume the sword would be sticking up, not being stabbed downwards. So how would they have fit it in there like that with the body there? I mean, maybe that's a small, like, detail to, like, look at, but yeah, how would they do that?
Yeah, I was gonna say if maybe there's like a gap between the thumb and the fingers, but there's not.
Yeah, it's definitely like curved around the hilt.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
A small thing, but something nonetheless that I noticed.
Yeah.
It was like a circus in court today. All thanks to this little sketch. That's the risk of repeating myself. You really ought to choose your friends more carefully, Phoenix, Wright?
Okay, I know Larry's been out there, but he generally wants to help Iris. I'm sure of that. He wouldn't have produced this for no good reason.
You are nothing more than a marshmallow on the inside. The both of you.
Alright, well now I guess I'll do...
The situation hasn't changed. We still don't know anything about Maya's whereabouts. She's gotta be in the secret cavern, though. That's the only place left. I heard it's real cold in there. We gotta get her out fast, or it could be bad, pal.
Is there anything you can do, Detective?
What are you talking about?
Huh?
We're already on it. You couldn't get a faster response from our computer. Mr. Godot put everything into place right away. That guy doesn't mess around.
Godot?
Yeah, the coffee drinking Mr. Man who didn't show up in court. I gotta say, he's totally made me rethink my perception of him, pal. She cross-examined me once, you know? Yeah, that was us. Big guns, locking horns. Witness versus lawyer. A battle of cunning tactics and tricks.
But the witness isn't supposed to play any tricks.
I can't believe she's gone. Now, apparently the girl was trapped over here since the night of the murder.
Did she say anything to you about Maya? She wouldn't tell me.
She's not gonna tell me she's not gonna tell me something if she wouldn't even speak to you, pal. She was real upset. She wouldn't stop crying. Phoenix, right. Look sharp and go comfort that poor young girl.
I will. Trust me, I will.
That guy's got more mysteries than a choose your own escapade book, pal.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, I already know.
I can't believe you skipped the trial like that, without even getting permission. He'd have been fired for sure if he worked for a normal company.
Never would have expected the prosecutor's office to be so lax.
Don't get the wrong impression, Phoenix Wright. More importantly, doesn't it strike you as odd that the police are unaware of that man's medical situation?
Yeah. So, him saying that actually does seem to fly in the face of my him being dead theory. Because if he's saying that, you know, they reconstruct his internal organs, you know, kept him alive and blah blah blah, that would imply that he's not dead and not a spirit.
Maybe, unless he's talking about it in a more spiritual level, like the idea of he died and his soul went to hell, and he... Like, it's not metaphorical, even like a surgery, you know, actually living through the entire thing sort of sense of like it was so painfully like hell. He actually went to hell is kind of how I'm reading. Like, literally what he said about his soul being in hell and everything and then being extradited or kicked out or whatever the fuck you want to say, you know, because he was brought back into his own body.
Into his own body. But not that he's being, like, channeled or anything.
Or possibly that he is being channeled. I'm not 100% certain. Especially with this comment about, having to be readjusted to his internal organs and everything.
Because I guess, yeah, when you summon...
If he's not in at least his body anymore because he's being channeled by someone younger...
their body does the form of whoever they're channeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe.
And because she's younger, well, even someone like me.
Right. Yeah, why is he hiding that from everyone?
Additionally, it raises another question. Why did he choose to tell only you?
Yeah, why did he?
Hey, you wanna hear something, pal? Come on, I know you do. I guess she's just gonna buy me a new coat.
Really? That's great.
Yeah, I think I should say thanks for helping out during that last case. Which means I can finally check this stinky sweat with soap rag. You mean you don't have any special attachment to that coat? And after all the effort I took to mail it back to you from Germany. Well, I'll be sure to take good care of it once it's retired, sir.
Aw. That's kind of sweet.
She's a sweet old lady. She doesn't look like the lying type to me.
But there was a problem with her testimony, wasn't there?
Yeah, but I don't think it was her fault. She was just trying to say the right thing, and it came out wrong, that's all. I know what it's like. Happens to me all the time. For a detective, you're completely lacking in powers of observation. She sure was a mysterious person.
Yeah, I think we already read this.
Her name? Yeah, we did.
It's probably because of the photo.
Right.
Counts as the same thing.
I don't know. I'm not so sure anymore. The clues we found today have turned this case all topsy-turvy. I can't see how Iris could have done it now. Oh? How interesting, Scruffy. Sadly, I don't share the same sentiment. Prepare yourself well for tomorrow, Phoenix Wright.
Why does the prosecutor want to burn me at the stake so badly?
At this point, I don't think anybody's actually against you, Phoenix. Like, I think you're overreacting.
Yeah, I think maybe aside from Godot right now, for some reason, all the other prosecutors are now, like, friendly rivals to you.
Yeah, Godot seemed to start off that way, but he seems to have just gotten really, really pissed off for some reason in this case.
Yeah.
Well, if you believe in, spirits and, whatnot in the real world, something about, how they're, like, tethered to certain places and objects or events and whatnot because of the amount of emotional power that's anchoring him here, in a sense. It could be that he's being channeled as an angry guy.
Maybe.
Especially if he says that he died and was being channeled, so he felt like he was alive for the longest time. Then he, is being channeled by somebody else, and shifting process of having to get
of course,
acquainted with it.
That theory will live or die if we find Maya inside the cave.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if Maya is in the cave, then there goes the theory.
Yeah. And Godot was actually just a really fucking edgy, but regular person.
Who possibly has actually died and just came back.
Maybe. I'm willing to throw out the idea that if he's not dead and being channeled already, though, that he never actually died, and it's all metaphorical.
Maybe.
That's kind of how I see it. I don't.
But I mean, there have been cases of people who have been considered dead, but then came back.
Right, but I don't know what the amount of weird emphasis on it that he's placed. I feel like it's either going to be completely true
or completely false.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
He was basically Stone's apprentice, so I heard.
Well, I suppose you could call him that.
The guy drew a portrait of me,
Well, lucky you, I suppose.
Yeah, but I had to pay 50 cents for it.
That's pretty awful.
You weren't really enthused about this guy either, huh?
Well, he made a mockery of the court today, and I'm almost sure he did it on purpose, too.
Wow. What a beauty, huh? Arrgh. What was that long pause for, Scruffy? That's a real nice brooch she's got, too. Arrgh.
Company needs to learn how to give compliments faster than Francisca gives lashes.
I think it's him trying to think of a compliment, but he's just not
good at it.
Good at compliments, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Mr. Edgeworth in about a year. Talk about a long time.
You know why he moved overseas?
Oh, he moved?
Mm.
Oh, I thought he just was, like, on vacation.
No, I'm assuming he's, like, living in probably England because of his accent.
I don't know. Probably look cool.
Huh?
There's a lot of waiting times to doing research overseas, you know? Once I've done my stint in Paris, you'll have to call me Monsieur Gonchausseur.
People really don't get Edward, do they?
Gonchausseur?
I don't know.
It's his own fault for not explaining anything about himself.
Alright, well, we literally presented everything to
I want to see what his court record says, real quick.
Oh, an old friend said to be number 1 in the DA's office. Studies foreign judicial systems now.
Number 1 of the DA's office?
District attorney.
Oh, I'm sitting here thinking defense attorney.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I made that same goddamn statement in the first game.
You did.
I completely... Wow.
Well, anyway, this was a little bit of a longer episode because I just want to get through all the gumshoe stuff.
Yeah, there was a lot, though.
Yeah. But I still don't know where to go next, but hopefully we'll find out in the next episode.
Yeah.
See you guys then.
Bye.